president. Congressman Steve Scalise is now in self-quarantine. The House Minority Whip taking action after an extended meeting last week with Florida Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart, who has tested positive for COVID-19. Utah Congressman Ben McAdams also testing positive. And joining me right now on the telephone is Congressman Steve Scalise. Congressman, thanks very much for calling in this morning. I'm sorry to hear that you are now quarantined. How are you feeling?
Well, Maria, good to be with you. I'm feeling fine, and just out of an abundance of caution, felt with being with Mario last Friday, we were meeting on a number of things, but just felt like the best thing to do would be to self-quarantine right now through the period, talk to the attending physician at the house, and that's what he suggested too. So, just not taking any extra chances.
So you don't have any symptoms then, Congressman? You don't have a fever? You don't feel like you are symptomatic?
No symptoms, feeling great. Talk to the physician about what things you would look for, but, fortunately none of those things are there. I've been on a lot of conference calls, of course, still dealing with so many different items that we're working on, from the bill that passed and got signed yesterday by the president to the things that we've got to do next to make sure that we can keep the country's economy going, keep families afloat while we work through this.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What aid do we need now coming at this economy? J.P. Morgan is talking about the economy shrinking 14% in the second quarter. You know that Stephen Mnuchin said yesterday that if we don't see acting on these stimulus packages soon by Congress, you're going to see 20% unemployment. What do lawmakers need to do, Steve?
Yeah, Maria, and I've been on a number of calls with Secretary Mnuchin, who's been doing a great job with the president to at least identify what are all the different things we need to do to make sure that families have money in their pockets so that they're able to make their house notes, their car notes, pay their rent, as well as working with businesses. And yesterday I did a call, Maria, with small businesses throughout southeast Louisiana. We had over 1,000 small businesses on the call, a lot of similar kind of questions. And really, there are two things that you're hearing from businesses, small, medium, and large. They're trying to figure out, they know that we don't know exactly when this is going to end, but they sure like to have an idea of when it's going to end because they want to make a decision. They've got notes to pay. They've got bank loans coming up, and they've got payroll, and they want to know, can they keep their employees and can they make their notes at the same time? And that's what they're weighing. That's what we need to be focused on in this next package. And I think you've heard from the president. He wants all of those things addressed. How do you make sure that families have money to cover their notes while they're being forced to stay at home, while their companies are not getting any kind of cash flow? And then how do you keep those businesses afloat so that when we do get beyond this in the next few weeks, we have an economy to come back to?
So how do you do that? The president, is he asking now for additional aid of $1 trillion? Is that even possible?
It's a very large package, and I think you're going to see a package that big, if not a little bit larger, because all of the different items, and Secretary Mnuchin's talked about a lot of this publicly. We're working individually through all of our committees of jurisdiction to identify what are the best things that are going to get cash in the economy and be effective. You don't just want to throw money out there. You want the money to be spent properly to help keep businesses afloat so that workers, hopefully, and look, we've already seen a lot of layoffs. Hopefully we can stave that off. But a lot of these businesses are looking for some kind of idea of what's going to be there for them because they do have notes to pay. And look, we saw some of this after Hurricane Katrina. No two disasters and crises are similar, but you had, in many cases, in the city, months of no cash flow. And so there were a lot of things done. In that case, the FDIC gave flexibility to local banks to give them the authority to add, for example, 90 days forbearance so that banks could work with their local businesses knowing they didn't have cash flow and saying, okay, you've got a loan due on Monday, we're going to push all of your loans off for 90 days. We're going to add 90 days to your note. It's not like they just said you don't have to pay anything, but they gave them that flexibility, and it helped a lot of those businesses through it, Maria, so that they could keep their employees and that they could keep making some payroll while they also recognized they don't have to sell off all their assets to pay the notes that are due by their banks. And it was something that, people just had to work together. And I'm sure a lot of businesses are talking to their bankers and their lenders right now, and we need to make sure through FDIC and other agencies that they've got the flexibility. I know Secretary Mnuchin's putting out probably well over $1 trillion of commercial paper to put more liquidity into the market. So all of that's being done at the same time. we know we have to move fast because businesses are literally making these decisions every day. I've talked to employers who are making decisions on thousands of employees, whether or not to keep them or lay them off. And we want to help work with them to keep those employees while they can stay afloat when we come out of this.
Yeah. Congressman, real quick, we got to jump, but there's a report on Fox News this morning that this is going to last 18 months. Is that the way you see it?
I don't see it that way, and I've talked to heads of hospitals.
Okay.
Look, medical professionals are working very fast to try to understand as much as they can about this disease. And, while there's no approved vaccine, there are a lot of things being worked out that doctors and health officials think have real good promise.
Right.
And we are going to probably get to a point in the next few weeks where in the summer, like a lot of influenzas, that they die off in the summer. We're not 100% certain, but you're already seeing signs out of China. You're talking to health professionals who think that is going to be the case. And is it going to be 1 month or 2 months? That's not known. But I think people are hoping more in weeks, not months. But it's uncertain, but we're also learning more every day.
Of course. Yes, we are. And the worry, of course, is that maybe it goes away or it peaks and then goes down and then comes back in the fall. We're investigating that.